Hey guys, mahalo everyone, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here. Welcome back to another one of my videos on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia on my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be covering the next upcoming Lost Chapters featuring Final Fantasy IV's Mischievous Mage, Palom. So this is going to be Palom's return. So for those of you that missed out on his initial release, you now have a chance to recruit him permanently since Lost Chapters are permanent content in Opera Omnia. So some details going into this event. Palom returns to Global, so he's going to be awakening to level 60 with better stats and upgraded abilities. Black, red, and blue high shards will be available as rewards for this Lost Chapters, and that corresponds with the synergy characters, which is Vanille and Edge, who's going to be joining us to fight against those pair of Crimson Lizards for this Lost Chapters. Now let's go ahead and move forward and take a look at Palom's abilities and see what they get with his level 60 awakening. So at first, he's going to be getting a C level 54, so this is going to be his aura passive, which is called Power of Black Mage Attack Up. So he's going to be getting a 50% attack increase as long as you have that unique buff Power of Black Mage active. And then 58, he's going to be getting Wisdom of Black Mage Boost and Speed Up, which gives him a 70% max Brave and medium speed increase as long as he has Wisdom of Black Mage unique buff active. Both of these auras actually help him out very well because he is known to be a high DPS magic damage dealing unit. Now, his actual abilities, we're going to take a look at them first prior to his awakening, and then we're going to compare to see what exactly he gets. So his Bluff, Bluff Plus, and Bluff Plus Plus with 15 CP prior to awakening is going to be granting him that unique buff called Power of Black Mage. 6, 8, or 10 turns, it depends on which version that you're using. Now, each usage of Bluff upgrades to the next, so after you use Bluff, then you'll have access to Bluff Plus, and then after you use Bluff Plus, you'll have access to Bluff Plus Plus. So that's essentially the way he works. He likes to build up to his potential. So Power of Black Mage is going to be increasing his attack by the respective values depending on which version of Bluff that you use. So it's either 20, 30, or 50%. It also gives him a Brave heal to himself. It's either based on 100, 120, or 150% of his attack stat, again, depending on which version of Bluff you use. And then it also changes his Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus for the respective 6, 8, or 10 turns. And Brave Attack Plus is a one-hit non-elemental magic Brave Attack with a 110% Brave damage potency and a low action delay. Now, after his awakening, this is what Bluff, Bluff Plus, and Bluff Plus Plus is going to be with 15 and 55 passive. So now Power of Black Mage is going to be extended to the respective turns 8, 14, and 20. So crazy longevity on that unique buff. Each usage, again, is going to be upgrading to the next. Power of Black Mage, the values for the attack increase actually remain the same. I found that a little interesting for his awakening, that portion didn't get any kind of an increase. The Brave heal, though, did get an increase, so now it's going to be giving him Brave 200%, 220%, or 250% based on his attack stat, again, depending on which version of Bluff you use. And then he's also going to be dealing HP damage after he uses this, so now he gives himself a way to deal damage with this ability rather than it just buffing himself and essentially not making it as turn efficient. So now it's a very turn efficient move. And then it also changes Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus, but now the turns are extended 8, 14, or 20 turns depending on which version of the ability that you use. And Brave Attack Plus is now going to be a 2-hit non-elemental magic Brave Attack with a 150% Brave damage potency and a low action delay. So you get a 40% Brave damage potency increase with this awakening. Now let's take a look at his second ability, which is Mycidia's Ice Crystal. There's also a Plus and Plus Plus version, and then also there's a Great Ice Crystal version of it. Now this is it with just the 35 CP. So it's a one-hit magic Brave Attack. There is an HP attack follow-up, however, that only applies to the Great version, so you gotta remember that. Each usage of this ability, just like Bluff, upgrades itself. It has a Brave damage potency, and depending on which version you use, those are the values right there. Now the 200 applies both to the Plus Plus and also the Great Ice Crystal version. It also grants him Wisdom of Black Mage unique buff, this time for the respective turns, and it's also 10 turns for the Great Mycidia's Ice Crystal version. And then also it increases his max Brave based on those values depending on which version you use. So 15, 25, 40%. And the 40% also applies to the Great version, just like the Plus Plus. It changes his HP attack to dual cast for the respective turns, and dual cast is a 2-hit non-elemental magic brave plus HP attack with a 60% brave damage potency. Now after the awakening, this ability with the 35 and 60 passive equipped is going to be a 2-hit ice magic brave plus HP attack, and this time it's also going to be inflicting HP splash damage to other targets, and the damage percent or the percentage of the HP splash damage is dependent upon, again, which version of this ability that you're using. It does the same thing whenever you use it, it upgrades itself, and now the brave damage potencies are as follows: 270%, 300, and 320%. It also grants him that same unique buff, but this time the turns are extended to 8, 14, and 20. The percentage values, though, for the max brave increase that this unique buff gives him does remain the same, just exactly like how it did for his first ability. And then it changes again his HP attack to dual cast, but the turns are now extended again to 8, 14, and 20. And this time dual cast is going to be a 2-hit non-elemental magic brave plus HP attack. However, it now hits harder at 120% versus prior where it was only 60%. So overall, great upgrades to his ability. Pretty insane longevity on those unique buffs. 20 turns is a long time. Even 8 turns is a long time. So I really do like that. My favorite part of his awakening, I have to say, is the splash damage and also the HP damage that he deals with his first ability. It makes him a little bit more turn efficient. Now, with these upgrades, is Palom going to be a character for fun or for glory? So he was known to be a magic damage dealer who is built. His kit was built so that every time he uses abilities, it gets better and better and better. So his greatest strengths are definitely the long duration of his buffs, and I would also say that it also his transformation of his brave attacks and his HP attacks. So then that way he actually has other abilities to use outside of his abilities, so you can actually take advantage of the long duration of those buffs. And his awakening now further improves him because it further extended his buffs to a longer duration, and now he has better damage potencies. But now, with that being said, is he a character for fun or for glory? So Palom's biggest downside is he needs to build up to his maximum potential, and also his ability count is low. Bluff only has 3 uses, and his other ability, Mysidia and Ice Crystal, only has 4. Even with his awakening, he doesn't get an additional ability usage, and that's really sad. So essentially, you really need to have ability management when you're using this character. I mean, he hits hard, but he doesn't have a lot of ability uses. So to really use him well, you're definitely going to want his EX weapon, because at least if you have his EX weapon, you'll have another ability to use, so you don't have to always constantly rely on using his abilities, since he doesn't have very high ability usage. And even if his buffs last very long, once he's out of abilities, you're going to be stuck using that Brave Attack Plus and the dual cast, which is great. They hit somewhat hard, but still, it's really hard to keep him going, and it's unfortunate that he has to keep building himself. And I think the reason why they designed him this way, and I did mention this in my original video for him, is it's based on his personality in Final Fantasy IV. He was an arrogant mage because he was a prodigy, so the whole thing about him is that he never takes his opponents seriously until like it's absolutely needed. So he's always just using a little bit of his power, and then he inches up even more and more and more until finally it's like, okay, I need to take this seriously now. So he's a fun unit to use, and I know there's a few folks that I've talked to that are fans of him because he's a funny character, but I feel like the low ability usage and also having to build up kind of reduces his usability, so he falls short to that. So overall, I feel like he's a character that's going to be for fun, not for glory. Sorry, Palom, but if you want to build him up, if you still love this character, then by all means, go ahead. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the banner. So it's going to be featuring his EX weapon, Stardust Rod. I did cover this in a previous X Factor video, so if you want to check that out, it is on my YouTube channel. But essentially, this gives him the EX ability Stardust. It's going to be first a 2-hit non-elemental AoE magic brave plus HP attack, and then afterwards it's followed by a 5-hit non-elemental AoE magic brave plus HP attack. The HP damage, if there's multiple targets, is divided evenly. It does deal more damage against a single target. It inflicts Ice Imperil for 4 turns, which is good because he uses the ice element, and then it also grants him Ice Enchant for 6 turns. So this actually helps him out if you have this, because now his Brave Attack Plus and his dual cast will have the ice element. So it does help him out to have that, so then that way those abilities can hit harder because you're taking advantage of him having the ice element and also the ice imperil on your enemies. It has a fairly high brave damage potency at 425%, and something that I do want to point out is that if you have this weapon 2 out of 3 limit break, it's actually going to extend his 2 unique buffs by 3 turns. So now, if you think about it, both of his unique buffs have a potential to last 23 turns, which is great. It gives him a little bit more longevity as far as those buffs. And I do like that it initially has a normal recast speed, so that means it would be slightly fast once you fully limit break it. So I'm glad that this EX ability is fast, and this is also the reason why you would want to pull on it, since you could see yourself actually using this ability quite often, especially during a long fight. Now, if you do decide to pull on this banner, you'll also have a chance to get the 35 CP weapons for Palom, Vanille, and Edge, as well as their 15 CP weapons if they missed out. Now, should you pull on the banner, I'm gonna be honest, probably you want to save your gems. Edge is pretty, I mean, I like ninjas, and Edge is pretty, I think he's underrated, especially his smoke screen really helps protect your party. Vanille is a great debuffer, and now she also has battery mechanics with her abilities, but overall, I feel like this banner is a pass because we are going to be seeing some better characters coming out with their EX weapons, and like I said, unless you like Palom or Vanille or Edge, I would definitely save your resources for characters that we're getting in the future. Now, the boss that we're going to be going up against for this event is going to be those 2 Crimson Lizards. So they at level 100, there's 2 of them. They're both weak to ice and thunder. They resist fire. They both have the standard chase HP value at 40. Both of them have moderate HP values, and they don't really have high HP values compared to some of the other fights that we've seen. They use a mix of fire, physical, and magic attacks. Some of them do have a high turn rate, so you just want to keep that in mind, that if they use some of their abilities will actually have a chance to put their turn right away after they use it. They use an ability called Wild Resonance, and this is common with the Iguian type enemies, where they both restore their HP and they buff their statistics, and when one of them falls, the other one will buff itself and get stronger, so you want to try to take them out at the same time if possible. Now, some final thoughts and tips, some top artifact passives if you decide to build up Palom after awakening him. Attack plus 108, max brave plus 330, and Mighty, Mycity, and Ice Crystal 2-star are the ones to definitely go for. If you use synergy, Vanille and Edge work well. You have Vanille debuffing and dispelling, and you have Edge taking advantage of the boss's weakness to thunder and also protecting the party with smoke screen, which is actually pretty clutch. It's actually a really useful ability now on Edge. Now, if you decide not to use synergy, if you have Beatrix built up, she will absolutely murder these 2 bosses because they are both weak to thunder. I'm gonna point out that the actual boss fight is actually not too difficult. The wave that you need to watch out for this Lost Chapters, especially for the level 100, is wave 3, where you fight against a Night Behemoth and a Skull Dragon Soul. And the reason why I say it's harder is because they hit fairly hard, and they both have higher HP than the actual final bosses. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to decide how you're gonna be managing your skills, so then that way you have enough skills left over for the actual boss fight. So watch out for wave 3, because that's the one that I feel like actually is a little bit more difficult compared to the boss fight. And then a little bit that I want to mention as far as for the future for Palom, he gets a level 70, but he doesn't get a rework yet in his future, nor does he have an EX plus weapon right now in JP. So as an investment, he's niche. I mean, he has the ice element, so he has his uses. It's just, like I said, there's going to be better characters coming out. So unless he's one of your favorites, I would definitely say pass on pulling and building for him. But if he is your favorite, then you already know my rule on favorites. It's all about favorites when it comes to Opera Omnia. All right, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and move forward with my JP account. We're going to take a look at the level 100 Lost Chapters so you guys have a visual showcase. Let's go ahead and move forward to that. Alrighty, guys, so here we are with my JP account. We're going to be doing a gameplay visual showcase. I am going to be tackling the level 100 Lost Chapters for the Palom stage. Now, I am going to take the synergy party. Something to note that is a little different that we have yet to see is, like I said, Palom did get a level 70, so that's why you see that his crystal passive is at 61. I don't have him yet at level 70 though, and I actually did not pull his EX. What I do have is Vanille's EX, so you guys will get to see that in action, and I'm gonna take Edge just because he possesses the thunder element, which the bosses are weak to, and he also has the very useful smoke screen. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this. I'm taking Shiva because Shiva is ice, and the bosses are also weak to ice. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here, since we know that Palom doesn't have a lot of ability usage, is I'm actually going to wait until we get to that dreaded Wave 3, which, like I said, I feel like is actually harder than the actual boss fight. So for Palom, we're actually going to save his abilities. Okay. Alright. So as you can see, 3 and 4. And yeah, they get stronger, and he has some really good, powerful, powerful buffs that last long. It's just, yeah. I kind of wish I mean, if they even gave, like, one of his abilities maybe, like, 6 uses or something, just one of them, I would have been cool with that. But, yes, low ability usage, unfortunately, on Palom. So after this, we're going to be facing that dreaded Wave 3, which, like I said, I feel like is harder because both of these enemies right here have high HP. So what I'm going to do first is, okay, neither of them are targeting anyone. We're going to just go ahead and use Shock right there on the Night Behemoth. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and employ some abilities here with Palom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use Bluff. So he gets Power of the Black Mage, which is going to last now for 8 turns upon the first usage. Oh, look at that. We have Vanille's EX ability. So we're actually going to use that on the Skull Dragon Soul. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and use Mysidian Ice Crystal. And then we're going to dispel what the Night Behemoth has here. Alright, so now it's going to be time to go ahead and use Smokescreen just to protect the party. Night Behemoth is targeting all, but that's fine. As you can see, Palom does hit hard. I mean, granted, this is his lost chapter, so he's synergy, but he does hit pretty hard. This character actually hits pretty hard. Okay, so I want to save his abilities. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to try to take down the Night Behemoth first. Whew, okay, that was close. Alright, thank God that Vanille has that passive that allows her to survive a lethal hit. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use Shock here on the Night Dragon Soul, and with okay, Palom is targeted next turn, so let's actually use Bluff Plus now. Okay, and here we go. Let's see. Got some debuffs. Then we're gonna, let's see if hopefully we can finish off the Night Behemoth soon, so then we only have to worry about the Skull Dragon Soul. Okay, and that random Brave attack that you saw is the effects of Vanille's EX weapon. I did cover her EX weapon in a previous X Factor, but essentially what it does is it places this unique debuff, which is it's called like Confusion. I forgot the exact name, but I did like I said, I did cover it on my video for her EX weapon. But what it does is at the end of the enemy's turn, it deals like a certain percentage of a magic like an elemental magic attack. So we have great Mysidian Ice Crystal up. Okay, it's using Crushing Fang. That's not a problem. We could easily Brave Break this. Alright, so look at that. We have her EX again. What I like about Vanille's EX is that it actually charges pretty fast, so you can actually use it quite often. Alright, and for Edge, just go with a Brave attack. So like I said, again, this is probably the more difficult part of this entire Lost Chapter's level 100, not the actual boss fight. I'm gonna keep everybody's Brave up. And like I said, the problem that you're probably gonna encounter with this is because both of these two enemies have a lot of HP, it may affect turn count and score and things like that, so that's also something you want to keep in mind. So Vanille is like having a rampage with her EX ability here. We're just going to use it over and over. Let's get a debuff off. Let's too bad that we don't have any healers, but that's fine. Okay, we're almost there. Alright, so we have her EX charged already, again, which is good. Alright, we have one more wave. Let's just go ahead and use Bluff plus plus. Okay, alright, so now we're gonna go ahead and face off against the two Crimson Lizards. So here they are. Okay, so we're just gonna right off the bat go ahead and use Great Mysidian Ice Crystal. We're gonna debuff B because it's going after Vanille. Then we're going to save Vanille and use Smokescreen. And as you could see, look at how far their health has already dropped. Like I said, they don't have as much health as that middle fight. That middle fight was probably the hard part of this event. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually just gonna go ahead and summon Shiva now, just to take advantage of their weakness, and also to give Palom a little bit of oomph. So we're gonna use his Brave attack. Oh wow, that's a lot of Brave that he built right there. Let's go ahead and get debuffs on. Alright, so one's down, and then it's gonna buff itself, but we have Vanille to take care of that, so there we go. Let's go ahead and just use Smokescreen. We still have quite a bit of turn duration on Palom's buff, so we can take advantage of his upgraded abilities. Let's see if we have... Yep, we have her EX. And this should be it. Yep. Not the cleanest clear, because I think I probably could have done something better on wave 3 and not let Vanille take all that damage and probably finish faster, but that essentially is the fight. So you want to watch out definitely for the third wave, like I said. Just be aware of ability management. If you take Palom, if you decide to build him up, make sure he has EX. Mine doesn't have it, so you could see I struggled a little bit with using him. Edge is great, again, because he's synergy, and he can also protect the party with Smokescreen, and you have Vanille with her debuffs. But like I said, there's plenty of other characters that you could use. Beatrix would murder those bosses. We have Kate Sith, Selphie, Deuce, Agrius would also be good for this. But anyways, guys, this is gonna be it for the Palom Lost Chapters video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and found it useful. Once again, this is 40 the Broadway saying stay tuned for the next one, and mahal, everyone.